Here is story 3, darker, heavier, and more psychological. Slow burn. No escape. Story 3, the last tenant. The landlord wouldn't meet him at night. That should have been the first warning. But Daniel was desperate. New town. New job. No savings left after the move. When the listing popped up, cheap rent, no deposit, available immediately, he didn't question it. He should have. The building stood at the edge of town, past where the streetlights thinned and the houses grew older. 3 stories of cracked brick and narrow windows. No other buildings nearby. Just trees. Too many trees. The landlord met him at 4:47 p.m. exactly. Daniel remembered the time because the man checked his watch before speaking. "You'll want to be inside before dark," the landlord said. Daniel laughed lightly. "Why?" The man didn't smile. "The power isn't reliable at night." "That doesn't make sense." "It doesn't have to." The tour lasted less than 5 minutes. 1 bedroom. 1 bathroom. A narrow kitchen. Wooden floors that creaked even when they weren't stepped on. The apartment was too quiet. Not empty quiet. Listening quiet. Previous tenant? Daniel asked casually. "Left." "When?" "Recently." "Why?" The landlord paused at the door. "Didn't like the noise." Daniel frowned. "What noise?" But the landlord was already walking down the stairs. Daniel moved in the next morning. Boxes. Mattress. A small desk. By sunset he was alone. The first sound came at 9:13 p.m. A knock. 3 slow taps. From inside the wall. Daniel froze mid-step. Another 3 knocks. Not from the door. Not from the floor. From the wall beside his bed. He stared at it, then laughed nervously. "Pipes," he muttered. "Old building." It stopped after a minute. He went to sleep. At 2:36 a.m. he woke up again. This time it wasn't knocking. It was breathing. Oh, steady. Close. Daniel lay still. The sound was coming from the vent above his bed. He told himself it was wind passing through. Then it changed rhythm. As if it noticed he was awake. He shot upright and switched on the lamp. Silence. The vent was dark and still. He stood on the mattress and looked inside with his phone flashlight. Nothing. Just dust. He didn't sleep again that night. The second night was worse. No knocking. No breathing. Just silence. Heavy. Pressurized. Like the air was waiting. Daniel tried to distract himself with television, but every time a character spoke, he thought he heard whispering beneath it. Not from the speakers. From the walls. He muted the TV. The whispering stopped. He turned it back on. Whispering again. Underneath the dialogue. Too low to understand. He turned the volume higher. The whispering got louder too. Matching it. Layered beneath it. Like something was trying to speak through the sound. He switched it off entirely. The room dropped into thick silence. Then, a whisper. Clear. Right behind him. "You're still here." Daniel whipped around. Empty room. His heart slammed violently. "I'm imagining this," he whispered. From the hallway outside his apartment. Footsteps. Slow. Dragging. The building only had 3 units. And he had seen no other tenants. The footsteps stopped outside his door. Daniel held his breath. A shadow passed under the crack. Then stopped. He waited. Nothing. After several minutes, he forced himself to the door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. But the lights were off. He was sure they had been on before. He stepped back. And that's when he noticed the chain lock was hanging loose. He never used the chain lock. Someone had. From the inside. On the 3rd day, Daniel confronted the landlord. "There's someone in the building," he said. The landlord stared at him without blinking. "No. There are footsteps." "No. There's knocking in the walls." The landlord's jaw tightened slightly. "Don't answer it." "Answer what?" "The knocking." Daniel's stomach dropped. "You said it was pipes." The landlord leaned closer. "Don't answer it." "What happens if I do?" The man's eyes flicked briefly to the dark hallway behind Daniel. "It learns your voice." Daniel felt cold. "What does?" But the landlord was already walking away. Again. That night, Daniel stayed awake. He sat at the kitchen table with all the lights on. Midnight passed. Nothing. 1 a.m. Nothing. 2 a.m. Nothing. At 2:36 a.m. exactly. Knock. 3 taps. From the bedroom wall. Daniel didn't move. Knock. 3 taps again. Then 3 taps back. From another wall. Opposite side of the apartment. Daniel's breath stopped. Another set of 3 taps. From the ceiling. Then the floor. Then every wall at once. The entire apartment echoed with synchronized knocking. Not random. Not chaotic. Rhythmic. Like a signal. Daniel pressed his hands over his ears. "Stop," he shouted. The knocking ceased instantly. Silence returned. His chest heaved. Then, from inside the bedroom wall, a whisper. "Daniel." His blood turned to ice. He never told the landlord his first name. The whisper came again. Closer. Right against the drywall. "Daniel, answer." He backed away slowly. The wall bulged slightly. Just for a second. Like something pressing from inside. "Go away," he whispered. The bulge stopped. Silence. Then 3 taps. Soft. Waiting. Daniel stared at the wall. And without thinking, he tapped back. 3 times. The air changed. The temperature dropped so sharply his breath fogged. The lights flickered. The whisper came again. But this time, it wasn't in the wall. It was behind him. "Thank you." Daniel turned slowly. The bedroom door was open. He was certain he had closed it. Inside the dark room, something stood beside his bed. Tall. Unnaturally still. Its outline shimmered slightly, like heat distortion. It didn't have a face. Just a deeper darkness where one should be. Daniel couldn't move. His muscles locked. The thing tilted its head. "You answered," it said softly. Its voice sounded layered. Like dozens of voices speaking in perfect sync. "You let me in." "I didn't." Daniel's throat closed. "You did." It stepped forward. Its legs bent wrong. Too many joints. Too smooth. Daniel's vision pulsed. "What are you?" he whispered. The thing paused. Then it leaned closer. And Daniel realized. It wasn't standing on the floor. It was emerging from it. Like it had been beneath the apartment the entire time. Waiting. For a voice, it said. It reached out. Its fingers were long and indistinct, fading into smoke at the edges. They brushed his shoulder. I shot through his body. He couldn't scream. He couldn't move. "You will stay," it said calmly. "I need tenants." The lights went out. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the window. The apartment was silent, clean, undisturbed, except the bedroom wall now had a faint outline, a shape pressed inside it, human-shaped. If you looked closely, you could almost see a face beneath the paint, mouth open, frozen mid-scream. At 4:47 p.m. exactly, the landlord unlocked the door for the next visitor. "Previous tenant?" the woman asked. "Left," the landlord said. "When?" "Recently." "Why?" The landlord glanced briefly at the bedroom wall. Didn't like the noise. From inside the wall, 3 soft taps echoed. Waiting. When the power first went out, Mara didn't panic. Storms in northern Pennsylvania did that sometimes. Rolled in fast, knocked down a line, left the town blinking in and out like a dying signal. She lit a candle, poured herself a glass of water, and waited for the hum of electricity to return. It didn't. Her house felt different without power. Not just dark or hollow. The refrigerator's constant murmur was gone. The wall clock had stopped ticking. Even the pipes seemed to hold their breath. Outside, rain battered the windows. Wind scraped branches across the siding with a slow, deliberate drag. Mara checked her phone. No signal. That was strange. The cell tower never went down during storms. She walked to the living room window and pulled the curtain aside slightly. The streetlights were out. Every house on her block was dark. No porch lights. No headlights cutting through the rain. Just blackness. She let the curtain fall back into place. "Okay," she muttered. Transformer blue. She wasn't afraid of the dark. She told herself that often. She lived alone by choice. Quiet didn't bother her. But this quiet felt layered. She turned on her old battery-powered radio, more for comfort than information. Static hissed through the speaker. She adjusted the dial. More static. Then, a voice. "Mara?" Her fingers froze on the knob. The voice had been faint, buried in the hiss, but it had been clear enough. Her name. She swallowed. That was coincidence, she whispered. She adjusted the dial again. Static returned. Sure. Constant. Then. Don't move. Mara's breath hitched. The voice wasn't distorted like a normal broadcast breaking up in a storm. It wasn't fading in and out. It was whispering through the static. Slow. Close. Her stomach tightened. This isn't funny, she said aloud, though no one had ever pranked her before. The radio crackled louder. He's in the house. Mara dropped it. The plastic casing hit the floor with a dull thud, the batteries rattling inside. The voice cut off instantly, replaced with ordinary white noise. Her pulse pounded in her ears. He's in the house. Her mind raced through explanations. Pirate frequency. Interference. Someone broadcasting nearby. But how would they know her name? And why would they say that? The rain intensified, hammering the roof. She stood slowly. Every shadow felt deeper now. The hallway stretched longer than it had a moment ago. The staircase seemed steeper. She told herself she would check, just to prove nothing was there. She grabbed the kitchen knife from the counter. Her hands trembled. "Hello," she called. Her voice sounded small. No response. She moved through the living room first. Empty. Kitchen. Empty. She checked the back door. Locked. The windows. Secured. Her breathing slowed slightly. "See," she whispered to herself. She picked the radio up again. Static. Then. Upstairs. The words slipped through the hiss like breath on glass. Mara's head snapped toward the staircase. She hadn't heard anything from up there. Had she? The house creaked as the wind pressed against it. She stared at the stairs. Every instinct screamed not to go. But something else, something stronger, pushed her forward. If there was someone upstairs, she needed to know. She took the first step. The wood groaned under her weight. Second step. The hallway above was pitch black. She lifted the radio slowly as if it might guide her. "Don't let him see you." Her chest tightened. "Who?" she whispered. The static surged louder now. "Behind you." Mara spun around violently. The staircase behind her was empty. Her breath came in short, sharp bursts. "You're imagining this," she said. But the voice had sounded calm, not threatening. Warning. She reached the top of the stairs. Her bedroom door was closed. She always left it open. Her heart slammed. She knew she hadn't closed it. She knew. The radio hissed again. "He doesn't know you can hear me?" Her fingers went numb. "Who are you?" she whispered. The voice paused. For the first time it sounded strained. "You." Her blood ran cold. The doorknob to her bedroom turned slowly. Click. The door creaked open an inch. Mara couldn't breathe. "He's closer than you think." The door stopped moving. Silence. Then, footsteps. Inside the room. Soft. Careful. Like someone testing the floorboards. Mara felt her knees weaken. She hadn't gone inside yet. The footsteps continued. One step. Two. Then stopped. The radio crackled violently, the static rising in pitch until it hurt her ears. "He can't see you if you don't move." Mara froze. Her eyes burned. Her lungs screamed for air she was too afraid to draw. The bedroom door creaked wider. An inch. Two. She could see inside now. The curtains moved slightly in the wind. The closet door stood open, and the space beside her bed. Something shifted. A shape. Oh, crushed. Watching. Mara's vision blurred. "Run." The voice broke through sharply. Mara bolted. She didn't remember moving. She just found herself at the top of the stairs, nearly falling in her rush downward. Behind her, heavy footsteps. Not careful now. Not quiet. The house seemed to shrink around her as she ran. She reached the front door and fumbled with the lock. Her fingers slipped. The radio screamed with static. "He's faster." The lock clicked open. She yanked the door and froze. The street outside was not her street. No houses. No pavement. Just trees. Endless. Black. The rain had stopped. The sky was clear. The world beyond her doorway was a forest. Mara staggered back. "No," she whispered. Footsteps descended the stairs behind her. Slow. Deliberate. She turned. A man stood at the bottom of the staircase. His face was blurred, not distorted, just unclear. Like her eyes refused to focus on him. He tilted his head. "You shouldn't listen to it," he said calmly. Her voice came out cracked. "Who are you?" He smiled faintly. I live here. The radio dropped from her hand again. But this time the voice didn't stop. Mara? She looked down. The radio speaker vibrated, even though the batteries had fallen out. You're not in your house. Her chest tightened painfully. What does that mean? She choked. The man took one step closer. The temperature dropped instantly. You left it, he said. I didn't, she whispered. You did, he replied. When the power went out, the radio shrieked. You have to wake up. The man lunged. Everything went black. Mara woke up in her bed. Morning light poured through the curtains. The power was on. The clock ticked normally. She lay there, shaking, tears slipping down her temples. A nightmare, she whispered. Just a nightmare. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She flinched. It was a voicemail. Unknown number. Time received, 2:17 a.m. Her hands trembled as she pressed play. Static filled the speaker. Then, her own voice, whispering, Don't move, he's in the house. The message ended. Mara stared at the phone, because she had never recorded that. And the timestamp was from the exact minute the power went out. So if the voice warning you is your own, how do you know which version of you survived the night? The hallway light had always flickered, even before Clara moved in. The realtor had laughed about it during the showing. Old wiring, he said. Adds character. Clara didn't care. The apartment was affordable, close to work, and far away from the memories she wanted to forget. It was small but clean. Living room, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom at the end of a narrow hallway. The hallway. That was the only part she didn't like. It felt longer at night. Longer than it had any right to be. The first week passed quietly. Too quietly. Clara noticed it on the 8th night. She woke up around 3:11 a.m. No sound had disturbed her. No dream lingered in her mind. But her eyes opened suddenly as if someone had called her name. Her room was dark, lit only by the faint glow of the hallway light bleeding under the crack of her bedroom door. She always left the hallway light on. She didn't remember why she started doing that. She just needed to. She stared at the thin line of yellow light beneath the door. It looked thinner than usual, like something was partially blocking it. Her throat tightened. She sat up slowly. The light shifted, just slightly, as if whatever stood outside had adjusted its weight. Her breath stopped. There was no sound of footsteps, no breathing, just the light, partially obstructed. Clara stared for almost 5 minutes. Then, the shadow moved away. The full strip of light returned. She waited. Nothing happened. Finally, she got up and opened the door quickly. The hallway was empty. The light flickered once, buzzed softly. Nothing else. She told herself she imagined it. Sleep paralysis, half-awake brain. She shut the door, locked it, and didn't sleep again that night. The second time was different. This time she heard it, a soft dragging sound, like fabric brushing against the wall. She checked the time. 3:11 a.m. Again. Her body felt cold. The dragging continued slowly down the hallway, from the living room, toward her door. She got out of bed and pressed her ear against the wood. The sound stopped instantly. Silence filled the apartment. Then, 3 soft knocks. Not loud, not aggressive, polite. Her stomach twisted. Who's there? She whispered. No response. She hated herself for doing it, but she unlocked the door, opened it a crack. The hallway was empty, but the light was flickering faster now. Each flicker made the hallway appear slightly longer. She blinked hard. It snapped back to normal. She stepped into the hallway. The air felt colder there, thicker. The living room was dark. Nothing moved. She walked to the end of the hall and turned back toward her bedroom. For a split second, she thought she saw something standing inside her room, tall, just beyond the doorway. She blinked. Gone. Her pulse thundered. I'm overtired, she whispered. She went back to bed, locked the door again. The third night, she didn't wake up on her own. The whisper woke her. Clara. Her eyes snapped open. 3:11 a.m. The hallway light was off. Her heart pounded. She never turned it off at night. Never. The bedroom door was open, just slightly. She was certain she had locked it. A darker shape stood in the hallway. blocking most of the light from the living room beyond. Too tall. Its head nearly brushed the ceiling. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just stood there, watching. Her body wouldn't respond. She tried to scream. Nothing came out. The shape tilted its head slowly. A sound emerged from it. Not a voice. More like multiple whispers layered together. You left the door open. Her vision blurred. I didn't, she tried to say, but her lips barely moved. You did. It stepped forward. The hallway seemed to stretch behind it, growing longer, deeper, darker. The apartment felt wrong, warped. You keep looking at the hall, it continued softly. So I come closer. Tears slid down Clara's temples. She couldn't move, couldn't blink. The thing leaned into the doorway. Its face was indistinct, but where eyes should have been, there were deeper shadows. You see me because you expect me. Her breath hitched. You're afraid of the hall, it whispered. So I live there. Its arm lifted slowly, too long, elbow bending slightly backward. It reached toward her. Right before its fingers touched her face, the hallway light flicked back on. Bright, steady. The shape snapped backward into the darkness, vanished. Clara jolted upright, gasping. The door was closed, locked. The hallway light glowed normally beneath it. 3:12 a.m. She sobbed until morning. The next day she tested something. She left the hallway light off. That night she went to sleep in total darkness. 3:11 a.m. She woke again. The door was still closed. No light outside. No shadow. No whisper. Her breathing slowed. Relief flooded her chest. See, she whispered to herself. She didn't need the hallway light. It had all been in her head. She rolled onto her side, facing the wall, and froze, because the hallway light was on again. But it wasn't coming from the hallway. It was coming from inside her room, behind her. She felt it before she saw it. A presence, standing between her and the door, blocking her path. The whisper came right above her ear. You left it off. Her entire body went numb. You weren't watching the hall, it continued gently. So I came closer. She forced herself to turn, slowly, painfully. The thing stood beside her bed, fully inside the room now. Its shape was clearer, still tall, still thin, its limbs too long, its head tilted unnaturally. You can't ignore the hallway, it whispered. It's where I wait. Clara squeezed her eyes shut. Go away, she breathed. Silence. She opened them. The room was empty. The hallway light was off. The door was closed. She was alone. For 3 nights nothing happened. No waking. No whispers. No shadows. Clara started to believe it was over. Until the 4th night. She woke at 3:11 a.m. But this time, she wasn't in her bed. She was standing, in the hallway, facing her bedroom door. The light flickered above her. Her bedroom door was slightly open. She could see herself inside, sleeping peacefully. Clara's heart dropped into her stomach. No, she whispered. The whisper didn't come from the hallway. It came from behind her. You stepped out. She turned slowly. The thing stood at the other end of the hallway, blocking the exit to the living room. You watched long enough, it said softly. Its form was more solid now, more real. You understand the hall now. The hallway stretched behind it endlessly, longer than the apartment should allow. Dark, unreachable. You belong here. Clara tried to move, but her feet wouldn't respond. The thing stepped forward. Someone has to watch from the hall. Her bedroom door began to close slowly. Inside, her sleeping body shifted slightly, unaware. No, Clara tried to scream, but the hallway swallowed the sound. The door shut completely, lock clicking softly. The hallway light flickered one last time, then steadied, and Clara felt herself grow thinner, colder, less solid. Her limbs lengthened slightly, her head tilted. She turned slowly toward the bedroom door, waiting, watching. At 3:11 a.m. the next night, the bedroom door creaked open.